Have you ever had that sudden jolt of stress or anxiety and just wondered, what is going on? Why is my brain doing this to me? Well, you're not alone. It's a totally universal feeling. But the reason behind it is honestly fascinating, and believe it or not, you can actually do something about it. We're going to dive into the science of how our brains cook up anxiety, and more importantly, how we can step in and become the manager of our own minds. But first, let's start with a really foundational question, just for you to think about. Can you fully trust your memory? I mean, really, truly trust it to be a perfect, accurate recording of what actually happened? The answer, well, it might just surprise you, and it is the absolute key to understanding everything else we're about to talk about. So here's the thing. The reality is that our brains are not perfect, logical supercomputers. As the research psychologist Gary Marcus puts it, they were cobbled together through evolution. Think about that. They're messy, they take shortcuts, and their number one goal isn't to be perfectly rational. It's to keep you alive. That's it. So let's actually dig into these tricky shortcuts. And we're going to start with memory itself. Because if your memory isn't a perfect recording, then what on earth is it even for? Okay, think about the memory in your phone for a second. It's a faithful record, right? It pulls up data perfectly every single time. Our brain's memory? It's a completely different animal. It's emotional. It's associative. See, memory didn't evolve to give us a perfect movie of the past. It evolved to give us a toolkit to help us deal with the future. And because its main job is survival, it can be, well, notoriously unreliable. And this unreliability, it can lead to something that Albert Ellis, one of the founders of cognitive behavioral therapy, called crooked thinking. And it's a great term. It's basically our amazing, uniquely human ability to completely upset ourselves with our own irrational thoughts that are very often built on those flawed emotional memories. And here's where it gets really interesting. This crooked thinking, it doesn't just stay up in your head. Oh no. It is directly wired into your body's ancient alarm system, a system that was, brilliant for keeping us alive on the savannah, but it can cause some real problems in our modern world. This whole system is built on a process called fear learning. Basically, from the moment we're born, our brain is creating these little maps and pathways from everything we experience. It's constantly asking, is that good or bad? Is this safe or is it dangerous? And look, this was absolutely essential for keeping our ancestors from becoming lunch. And when your brain flags a situation as dangerous, bam, a super fast chain reaction kicks off. Your amygdala, that's kind of like the brain's panic button, it goes off. It floods your body with stress hormones, like adrenaline, and you feel that intense physical discomfort that we've all come to know as fight or flight. So that alarm system is incredibly useful, right? But what happens when it gets stuck in the on position? Well, that's when you get trapped in the vicious cycle of anxiety. Through a process called conditioning, our brains can kind of get their wires crossed. This incredibly powerful physical threat response can get attached to situations that aren't actually life-threatening at all. Things like public speaking, a tense work meeting, or even just walking into a party. All of a sudden, those things become triggers that set off your body's full-blown emergency alarm. And this leads to a huge cognitive error, a thinking trap called emotional reasoning. We feel that physical jolt of stress hormones, and our brain immediately jumps to a conclusion. I feel bad, therefore this situation is bad. We mistake the feeling for a fact. And this is the trap. The physical discomfort itself, the shaky hands, the racing heart, the tight chest, that becomes the new threat. We actually start to fear the feeling. And of course, that just distorts our memories and our thinking even more, locking us into this nasty, self-perpetuating loop. Okay, so how do we break out of this loop? How do we take back control? It all starts with a huge shift in perspective, and it's built on one core idea. Your feelings are not facts. This right here is the absolute key to everything. What we call anxious feelings are at their very core physical events. It's just your nervous system responding. That physical sensation, that's the tail that starts wagging the dog of your whole emotional and mental state. It's not just an emotion you're having, it's physiology. It's your body. So this is where we get to reframe our thinking. On the one hand, you have emotional reasoning, which says, my feelings are reality, I feel bad, so this is bad, and I have to get away from this feeling. But what if we shift to a more rational view? What if we say, my feelings are physical data,
My body is just having an adrenaline spike. This is a physical response, and I can manage it. See the difference?
The second you make that shift, you step into a brand new role. You are no longer just a passenger on this wild hormonal roller coaster. You get to become your brain's executive manager, and you can start actively remapping its responses.
And we have the tools for this, thanks to modern cognitive behavioral therapy. First, you just acknowledge the physical spike and use simple breathing to calm your body down. Then you gently expose yourself to the situation, which allows your brain to collect new data, new evidence that you are in fact safe. And over time, doing this literally builds new, healthier neural pathways. It's incredible.
And let's be really clear here, the goal isn't to fight the feeling or to just white-knuckle your way through it. Not at all. It's to understand that it's a physical event, to accept its presence without judgment, and then to actively manage that response. And the science on this could not be clearer. Your brain is not fixed. It's not set in stone. Through this kind of awareness and by taking new actions, you can literally remap your brain's conditioned responses. You can change the circuitry. So I'll just leave you with this thought. Your brain is an incredibly powerful learning machine. It learned these patterns of anxiety through your experiences. And if it learned them, that means it has the capacity to learn new ones. So the real question is, what do you want to teach it next?